Welcome everybody to the latest and greatest episode of Heighten Your Sixth Sense with Shaun Green. I got Mr. Arias Websterberry here from Dallas, Texas. In this show, we focus on elevating the line in the mind, body, and spirit by teaching actionable strategies, fundamental principles, and our relentless goals to empower every beautiful soul to harness the highest potential. We cultivate awareness, enlightenment, peace through inspiring, elevated conversations, offering a fresh approach to self-discovery and steps needed to achieve mastery. Mr. Westbury, I know you're a digital marketing expert, entrepreneur, author, you're a speaker. I know your goal is to empower over 1,000 entrepreneurs and or more to make 100K by 2026. I'm just thank you for being on the show. I'm happy to have you today. I know we connected probably about a month or so back. We had a great conversation, and I just want to share your story and your vision, with the world today.
Hey man, Shaun, great to be here. Appreciate you having me, man. Looking forward to it.
Yes, sir. So I want to kind of start off and kind of um, get a picture of kind of how things started for you. From your early beginnings. Let's kind of start with that. When you're experiencing your early years, whether like grade school, middle school, high school. What's kind of things shaped the foundation for your entrepreneurial mindset and your passion for community impact?
Yeah, man. Before I was an entrepreneur, I was a kid growing up, and the world seemed to designed to test me. And by the time I turned 18, I had lived in over 12 places. My
Hmm.
father, wasn't really around as much as he would have liked to. He struggled with addiction. Both
Okay.
my parents were incarcerated at one time or other, and I lost my father tragically to police violence when I was 13. Um,
Wow.
these challenges, they could have held me back. I could have used it as
Mhm.
an excuse, but that really became the foundation for my resilience, for my creativity, for my drive to build something meaningful.
That's awesome. So, I mean, it's good that you persevered through, like you say you moved around 12 different places. You saw addiction in your household, and tragically you lost your father at an early age. How did that, losing your father like that, how did that affect you, like in a sense, like not having that father figure there in those teenage years when you really need a father?
It was big, man. There's a lot of things that I didn't, learn how to do. I didn't learn how to shave properly. I didn't.
Mhm.
I learned to tie a tie. I
Mhm.
think on my graduation day, one of my basketball coaches helped me tie a tie for the first time.
Okay.
Um, he was there for some critical things early on, but in my adolescence, when I was making that transition from boy to man, obviously he wasn't there. I lost him when I was 12, 13. It was my freshman year of high school. So, at the
Yes, sir.
beginning of that transition. So it was difficult, man. I was angry a lot. I didn't
Mhm.
understand why. I was,
Yeah.
it had an impact on my performance in school, my focus, my motivation to get things done. And it could have been worse, but I had a
Yeah.
strong mom who filled the gap. She worked hard. She worked
Yeah.
jobs to make sure that we weren't rich by any means, but
Hmm.
she did an amazing job to help get me in a better school, get me in an area where I could expand my worldview and sample what would eventually, become my life.
Wow. So your mom is the backbone. She's the I guess the pillar. So like I mean I say that in most black families, the mother and the our mothers and aunties and grandmothers are those women that that hold it together and see a vision for what the moves that need to be made to get us ready for to better our lives. They sacrifice their lives to make things better for us. So salute to all the black mothers, grandmothers, aunties out there, because it's always a village, and especially in our community. Um, So were there any other pivotal moments or challenges during those years that that sparked the drive to pursue leadership and creating lasting change?
Yeah, actually in early on, I started my first business. It was a dog walking business. I was walking home from school one day. I couldn't have been more than like 10. And I was really into dogs for some reason at that at that point. And I was walking home to school from school and I heard a whole bunch of dogs barking, but
Yeah.
we've been living there for a couple years and I had never really seen many dogs outside. And I remember watching this one program, and they said the dogs needed to go out, for an hour or two every single day. And I was like, man, I never
Hmm.
see dogs. So it occurred to me that maybe I could go, around the neighborhood and ask neighbors if I could walk the dog. So I got excited. I grabbed my cousin. We went out. We started knocking on doors, saying, "Hey, we'll walk your dog for $5." And
Yeah, that's
you
cool.
know, after a whole afternoon of walking dogs. I came home. I think I had like 20 or $30 or so, and I showed my
Man.
mom. I was so excited, and she said, "Where did you get that money from?" And I said, "Oh, me and my cousin, we went and walked some dogs." And she said, "Walk dogs? Whose dog?" Because we didn't have a dog. I
Yeah,
said, "Well, the neighbors." I went and knocked on doors. He said, "You knocked on doors?"
yeah,
No, 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 no. You're not walking around knocking on strangers' doors. You can get snatched. I mean, no. So, it was my first entrepreneurial foray. And it rose and fell, in an afternoon. But,
mhm.
I always say I got it honestly. I have been
It
an
was natural.
entrepreneur. Yeah, at the time I didn't understand what I was doing, but I had identified a need, right? I
Hmm.
saw that there was a
That's what it's
big
about.
market, all these dogs, they weren't getting the care and attention they needed, so that was the need.
Hmm.
Um, and that it would be valuable for somebody to come in and take that responsibility off their hand for a nominal fee. Um, so I didn't have to do anything else entrepreneurial until I got into high school. I started throwing parties, small parties, little house parties,
Okay.
and then we started charging for them. And I eventually kind of did that in college. And from there, I got into promotions. I went to work for a small local record label, and the owner also owned a nightclub. And at this time,
Hmm.
social media was really starting to become a thing, and he wasn't really that big on it, but he knew it was something that was important. So he hired me to
Hmm.
help with the social media and some street team stuff. And yeah, I got into promoting nightclubs and then concerts, like small concerts, intimate concerts, and then bigger concerts. And eventually, I got into promoting festivals. My largest event being at the LA Sports Arena, which I think at the time held like 17,000 people or so. We
Yeah,
had
it's huge.
yeah, yeah, it was the biggest, event of my career.
Hmm.
We had Janelle Monae, we
Man,
had
that's cool.
Common, we had Ludacris, we
Yeah,
had
you had a
Mixed
nice
Master
show.
Mike from the Beaster Boys. Yeah, yeah, it was big,
Hmm.
man. It was really, really big.
Hmm.
Um, and that was the point where I really got a true chance to sample what marketing was holistically, because with an event that
Hmm.
size, it was a almost seven figure budget that we were working with. We did,
Yeah,
negotiating contracts with Billboard and TV stations, radio stations, very
yeah,
large ad campaigns with social media, and coordinating multiple street teams are on the ground, putting up posters and handing out flyers, email marketing, and dealing with publicists. We really
yeah.
did a full
Yep.
campaign, and I just
Man,
fell
that's
in love with
cool.
it, man. So.
Wow. So that was your that event, that LA Festival concert. That was kind of one of the. It seemed like I know when the first conversation you mentioned all those different aspects of marketing, and so it seemed like that was one of your first time doing it on a big scale and having like and organizing and leading teams to get it all organized and done properly.
Yeah, I mean, I had organized and led teams, which kind of prepared me for this, but never to
Mhm.
that scale. I
Yeah.
never, handling literally hundreds of thousands of dollars and negotiating contracts for, 50,000, 80,000, 100,000 a pop, and
Hmm.
signing off on these things, and being responsible for almost an army of people, like 100 people,
Hmm.
hundreds of people actually on the ground day of, but lots of different people and teams leading up to it.
Yeah, man, that's incredible, man. That you got all that great experience and learning contracts and handling all that money and organizing the different teams. I know there had to be a lot to coordinate it all, and that's probably back before smart. Was that around what smartphones, iPhones, a thing then? Or was it before that?
It had just kind of started. I don't remember the year that iPhones came out, but this
It was like
was like
2007, I believe, in the first
yeah.
one. I
So this
believe.
is just the beginning of that.
Hmm.
I want to say that this concert was 2008.
Hmm.
It was 2008, 2009. So, these are the early days of
Yeah.
smartphones, where you still had to, some people were on per minute plans. You had so many text
Yeah.
messages, people trying to
Yeah.
make sure they didn't go over on the data.
Yeah.
There's no unlimited anything at that time.
Sure
Um,
wasn't.
so, it was a different time. You really had to kind of think through, and there was a lot more
Hmm.
manual processes involved at the time. But it was a great experience, man. We had some wins, we had a lot of losses
Hmm.
um, during that process, and I learned, I grew as an entrepreneur. I grew as a man in that process.
Yeah. That's good. I mean, that's what it's all about. So it's all about going through the different processes and growing, not only as a business person, but as your personal self. You just expand. And so
It
from
did.
that was kind of like I'll say a catalyst for bigger things to come.
Yep. Indeed.
Hmm. That's really
Indeed.
cool. So on your journey into like adulthood, I know it's filled with like a lot of transitions, learning curves. Could you kind of like walk us through like your path from college or university to professional life, and like what lessons did you carry from those early stages to your like current work?
Um, Well, I didn't finish college, so again, like I said at the beginning,
Mm,
life seems like it was designed to test me, and
mm,
um, it seems like when I at the beginning of very pivotal points in my life, there's always been some huge roadblock, and college was no different.
mm.
I got into
Okay.
college. I want to say the first maybe 4 months, 3, 4 months, somewhere around there. My mom found herself in a domestic violence issue that was severe, and she ended up going to jail once
Mm,
everything shook out in the courts. And I'd
okay.
already lost a parent maybe 5 years prior, so I was like 18, 17, 18, and now my only support, my mom, is now in jail. So I go
Mm,
from trying to figure out this college thing to trying to figure out where I'm going to stay, trying to find a job,
mm.
feed myself, and then
Yeah.
also trying to balance a full schedule in college. And I was rocked by this loss, right? Worried about my mom being
Yeah.
in jail, and
That's a major
she's
loss.
okay.
Major loss.
Yeah. So it
Mm,
was rough, man. And that's when I ended up homeless, just not
mm,
able to juggle it all, not knowing much about financial literacy, not having a network. My parents don't, they don't have a um, country club membership.
mm.
We're not donors to anybody of note. There's
Yeah, I
nobody
got
coming to back me up and save me. And then most of my family is in Texas and not California. So I don't even have any extended family
you.
really. A couple, but not really many, in that area. So it threw me for a loop. And,
Mm,
I ended up dropping out and just kind of finding some work in sales. And,
mm,
eventually, I did the concert thing, and 2009 hit. The recession was terrible, especially for California. It was one of the hardest hit states in the country. And I pivoted. I said, hey, I think I stuck it out for a couple years. I don't think I moved until 2011 back to Texas. And then I want to say it was 2011, 2012. I pivoted,
mm.
and I landed here at my grandmother's house, licking my
Okay.
wounds. And eventually I landed a job at a company called Reach Local, which at the time was the largest digital marketing company in the world. Right, I think they were in like 20 countries, multiple continents. Very much a multinational company, and that's where I got my hands-on training and realized the true potential of digital marketing. I got some of my certifications. I learned about Google AdWords and account management, and really how to sell advertising and marketing as a service. And to be able to see it at a very high level, that's what led me to the skills that I possess now.
That's incredible story. So you went through from going to college to
Hmm.
mom going to jail. How long was that time frame where and your mom was in jail?
She was in for, I think she was scheduled to be in for a couple years,
Hmm.
and she got out on good behavior. I want to say, I think it was under 18 months. I think she may
Okay.
have done like 14 months or 18 months, something like that. So a little over a year.
Mm.
Um,
Okay.
so yeah, that happened. That was that was 2004.
Mm.
Yeah, 2004, right around there. So she
Okay.
didn't get out to 2006. Fast forward a couple years, I do the concert. Then the recession hits, and I leave in 2011. And I think I milled around the city for maybe about a year,
Hmm.
two, just trying to get my bearing and figure
I
out what I
got you.
wanted to do. And then I landed at Reach Local.
And so in Reach Local, that was like your first really taste at doing the digital marketing on a with a bigger company on a bigger scale. And it's kind of
Exactly.
like I'll say like your foundation into what your expertise is now.
Indeed.
All right, that's awesome. But I know it was a tough time, but that tough time made you grow up. You had to, it was a tough time, but you fought through it and you figured it out, and that it actually made you who you are now. Because if you think about it, if say that didn't happen to your mom, you would have finished college, and you would have went maybe a different path. It could have the outcome of where you are now could be different. Because that 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 tragic moment made you have to like really figure it out and tough it out. I know it's like a hard time, but you made it through, and that's like a part of you who you are. So part of your DNA, so to speak.
Yeah, man. When you're in it, and you may be able to relate with this, and anybody watching, when you're getting the news, or shortly after you get the news, or you realize that you're in a crappy situation,
Hmm.
it's hard to see how that might be a benefit. It's
Yeah.
it's hard to see um, your way past it, and what's going to happen.
Hmm.
And how you may be able to use this in the future.
Yeah.
Um, but yeah, if it wasn't for that, all of these different things that happened, my path would have went anywhere. I could be the president of the United States by now. I don't know
Yeah.
if I would have
Exactly.
stayed a part of it, or
Yeah.
it could have been way worse. It could have led me
Hmm.
down a very dark path. Who knows?
Yeah. Exactly.
All I know is that I use that, and everything that I had learned, and everything that I had, everything that I was, in order to keep pressing forward. So when
Hmm.
I got this job, I started freelancing, and afterwards, I was armed with some actual real world experience in digital marketing, and a little bit of freelancing. I eventually decided to start my own agency, and
Hmm.
my focus was simple: helping businesses harness, digital tools to
Hmm.
scale efficiently and effectively. And
Yeah. Make them grow.
yeah, exactly.
Hmm.
Just growth. And I
Hmm.
started with people that were in my proximity. I didn't
I
have a
got you.
big budget to market and get people.
Hmm.
Um, I just, went out and talked to people, and had friends and family refer. And, over time, we grew it to a seven-figure agency.
Yeah.
uh, and generating incredible results for clients consistently, and maintaining healthy profit margins has allowed
Hmm.
me to open other businesses, and invest and do a lot of different things.
Yeah. That's amazing. But like this, I know Ed Mylett always say, I think it's Ed Mylett or is it maybe Tony Robinson? I know they say proximity is power. So you have to
Indeed.
use, where you at and the environment around you to build where it is you're trying to build. You can't just you got to use that. But I'll say like the um, the reinvention, that prepared you for challenges of entrepreneurship. I would say.
Yeah, I realize that success isn't just about profits and accolades.
Mm-hmm.
It's about creating systems that empower others. The realization was born out of the adversity I faced and overcome. I talk about turning your adversity into your advantage. Your adversity gives you a unique perspective. It gives you grit. It gives you a realization that if it didn't break you, it can make you, right? It can make you
Exactly.
bigger. It can make you stronger. It can make you faster. It can make you
Mm-hmm.
smarter.
Yep.
And now, that's created my overarching mission.
Mm-hmm.
My focus for the next couple years is what I call the 100x impact. I'm focused on guiding 1,000 entrepreneurs to 100,000 or 100K in a year, and 100
Mm-hmm.
entrepreneurs to a million by 2026. And like I said, that mission is called 100x impact, and drives everything that I do at this point.
And when we spoke the first time, you were very passionate about that and your vision for wanting to build up black entrepreneurs and
Hmm.
make and get that keep that money circulating within the community. So that was I that you when we talked about that, I remember how you was lighting up. You was like, really excited, which you still are now, but I just know that's really it's a driving force for what you're doing.
Yeah, man.
Mm,
I operate in a lot of rooms and a lot of spaces. From the boardroom with 100 millionaires. One of my clients, he's worth $357 million, I think.
wow.
Uh, he's in the hospitality space. He owns multiple hotels. He's,
Mm,
I think he's in his 80s now.
wow.
Um, and I deal with, I have lots of clients, big and small, down to a local beautician who's only been in business for 9 months, and is just trying to make her first $50,000. So I get to see the contrast, and I realize that they all kind of need different things, but the core of it is the same, right? They need someone who's going to
Mm,
help them, who sees their business and understands it, and is going to help them pull in leads and convert them to dollars, and hopefully give them some good advice as to what to do with those dollars to continue to grow their dream.
mm,
And Black entrepreneurs, in my opinion, in my experience, need it more than most. We're usually
yeah.
about 5 to 7 years behind the rest of the pack, in my experience,
Mm,
and that's what the 100x impact is about. It's about someone who looks like me,
yeah.
helping people who look like me. There aren't many that I've seen that look like me that are truly helping, and if
Mm,
they are, they're not really focused on us either. So I'm trying to impact um,
yeah.
our community in focusing on economics, but making people self-sustaining. Teaching,
Mm,
helping them grow their own businesses so they have something that they can pass on to their kids, and that produces money, 100x, 1,000x, 10,000x, for years to come.
yeah. And so like I feel like that lunch initiative is it's ambitious. The goal is empowering 1,000 black entrepreneurs. It's great. I say 200 million in impact. You know, like what inspired this vision? How do you measure your success beyond the numbers?
Well, as I work with entrepreneurs, I saw many struggling to turn their ideas into structured and profitable businesses. They
Mm,
needed a simple tool, like they needed to simplify the process, a platform to guide them step by step, and Launch Ignition was born out of that. That's why I created Launch Ignition. It's an AI powered accelerator that takes entrepreneurs from idea to launch with clarity and confidence. So, whether it's creating a lead magnet, or crafting an email sequence or building a business plan. Launch
Mhm.
Ignition simplifies the process and it gives you the tools that you need to actually build the business and then launch it and scale it, to six figures and seven figures and beyond.
Mhm.
So, as far as how do I um, tabulate the success? I mean, we've already had, close to, well, over 100, I think like 110, 120 entrepreneurs go through the program thus far. It's only been a couple years.
Mhm.
All of those are purely referrals. We haven't done any marketing. This is the most I've talked about Launch Ignition ever to anybody outside
Mhm.
of those in the program. So all of them
Okay.
were referred by, other people that are already in the program, which I see as a testament to its success, because if it wasn't working, they definitely wouldn't refer other people. Uh,
Exactly. Word of
but
mouth.
I work best when I have a tangible goal, which is why I came up with 100x impact. I wanted to say, hey, I'm going to give myself 24 months. And in 24 months, I want to be able to not only affect a certain number of people, but I also want to have an impact on their bank accounts to a certain number. And, when you do
Mhm.
that math, the 1,000 at 100K in a year, and the 100 at a million a year. Well, that's $200 million in a year. That's a
Mhm.
micro economy. That's the amount of
Yeah.
money a small nation makes,
Exactly.
in a year,
Mhm.
the GDP of a country. So, we're trying to do that. And obviously my team knows once we hit that, I'm probably going to try to 10X it and then 10X it
Mhm.
again, you know.
Yeah. Exactly. I mean, it's because once you have that, what you call that, the compounding, the compounding effect. You guys
Yeah,
imagine just that work in that 18 months, 2 year time frame, and then from there, it's just going to compound even further and faster. So I mean,
indeed.
your vision is, it's going just the way that numbers work. It's going to happen. There's no doubt in my mind it will happen. But
I appreciate
the rule of, go back and look at the rule of 72, Albert Einstein. How stuff, when you divide that basically it's dealing with interest rates, but if you divide that by 72, it's going to tell you how long it's going to take for that to compound. So, but
indeed. I
mhm.
haven't heard that one in a while. I need to go
Yeah,
back.
yeah, yeah. We use it a lot in financial services, so that's kind of sometimes part of the presentation because a lot of people don't know that, but it's a simple formula, but it makes sense, and numbers don't lie. So that's why it's so effective.
Yeah, indeed.
Mm-hmm. And so in representing entrepreneurship, it's a power tool for community transformation. Uh, what were some of the biggest barriers you faced, and how do you mentor others to overcome similar challenges?
Um, you know, the biggest thing is just not having a plan. A lot of entrepreneurs, they get so excited to get their business off the ground, they don't sit down and plan enough. And if they do,
Mm-hmm.
they typically don't reference it as they're going through it. It's easy to set a plan. It's usually very difficult to stick to it. So the biggest part of Launch Ignition is, helping you get your idea out of your head and on paper.
Mm. That's
Surprised how,
super important.
yeah, you'd be
Mm-hmm.
surprised how many business owners have not taken the time to do that.
Mm-hmm.
Um, big, companies big and small. You'd be surprised.
Yeah.
Um, so that's usually the biggest issue that I see. And then many of them have not really dedicated the time and energy and money to
Mm-hmm.
developing a predictable lead source in business. And the key word on that is predictable. Do you have a
Yeah.
place that you can go? Let's say you have a capacity of producing 100 products a week. Do you have a place to go to find 100 people to buy these 100 products? Most people have not really developed that, so their business is up and down. They have a lot of peaks and valleys in their revenue and in their sales. So developing that is critical to you being able to grow your business and scale it. Right? We talk about scale, It's your ability to keep all your numbers going up and to the right, or what they call a rectilinear curve. Uh,
Mhm.
you have to be able to generate some money, reinvest, have that generate some more and more and more and more. And if you can't, you know, predictably pull in leads and convert those into sales, well, then, you don't have a scalable business, which means you're just spinning your
Mhm.
wheels.
Yeah, because you got to be able to bring the money in, but you got to be able to convert it. You got to be able to convert those leads into profitable dollars that you can like attract more people and then make the business grow. So it makes sense. But I think
Indeed.
I guess that one thing you said is helping people get the thought out of their mind to paper. That's like one of the most important parts of creation anyway, because we create everybody creates stuff twice.
Right.
First you
Mhm.
think it, but then you got to put it either to paper in the 2D and then or give it to somebody engineer to create it in 3D. But
Mhm.
you got to go through that process. But getting it out of your mind is the best step of the creation. Because a lot of times you don't actually take your time and think it through. You'll lose that, I guess, that momentum of that thought or that thought energy. You kind of get lost in the shuffle of all the other monotonous things we got going on in our mind. So if you got some important idea, you need to really get it out on paper. Yeah.
Indeed, indeed. And, everything that I've been through in life, from early stages when I was talking about walking dogs, right? It was an idea
Mm-hmm.
in my head, and I took action and turned it into something in the physical realm. Uh,
Mm-hmm.
to, concerts, those were just concepts that I had. The Hip Hop 101 Music and Arts Festival
Mm-hmm.
was a concept. It was an idea and turned into a logo, and then it turned into tens of thousands of people sitting in the Los Angeles sports arena.
Mm-hmm.
Um, Moving to Texas and learning digital marketing and starting my agency, all those were ideas, and then they turned into something that I could physically touch and other people could experience and benefit from.
Yeah.
So yeah, that two stages of creation has always been something I've leaned on heavily. I'm a powerful dreamer, and
Mm-hmm.
um, my dreams very much typically come to life because I work
Yeah.
at them. They say you can't beat a man who never quits, um,
Exactly.
and I am definitely subscribed to that, and I am that man.
Mm-hmm.
You know,
Exactly. Well, hey,
uh,
you know who you are, so you're firm in who you are, and you trust yourself. But that comes with over time. You built that up. Because you've been through that process multiple times of you coming up with a thought or idea and you manifest it from a thought into a reality. And you
mhm.
know that you trust yourself enough that you know that it's going to work. And now you got now with your strength, but you have other strong people around you that can help you make the dreams come faster.
Yeah, yeah. I mean,
Mm-hmm.
once you figure a thing out, you find some people to get behind you and help you run with you and help you run faster and help you bring those things into reality, quicker and easier. And I've got an amazing team. It's growing. I'm blessed to
Yeah.
have talented people who work hard, in my various businesses. And I try to take all the things that I've learned, and whether it's from hardship or from being in various places, and I try to pour that into my customers and my clients, into my
Mm-hmm.
team, my employees, and to random listeners and viewers on podcasts. Right, I just try to pour out into
Yeah.
people. Hopefully, they
Yeah.
get something out of it, and it impacts their lives.
But that's the only way you can grow and expand. You have to put your energy into other sources.
Yeah,
So
because
that's the way it
I
works.
just want to give entrepreneurs the tools I wish I had when I started. You
Mm-hmm.
know, I guess that's really what drove me to create Launch Ignition. You know,
Mm-hmm.
I wanted to make it easier for Black entrepreneurs to be able to get to market into profitability
Hmm.
faster without making all the same mistakes I did.
Yeah. But with all your strategies and things you got in place, that's gonna really help people because like like you were saying a minute ago about the peaks and valleys in business. So a lot of people, just from I guess listening to what people say and what they seen, it's almost like a people always think, well, you're supposed to struggle in a business, or you don't supposed to be profitable fast. A lot of people may have those thoughts. Well, with your strategies, you can keep the money flowing, keep the money circulating in, making investing the money, attracting more people faster, and so it's gonna make the business grow, you know, 5x, 10x a lot faster, and it'll be less, peaks and valleys and less failure in the business because a lot of people, I think it's like most businesses fail within the first 2 years or something like that normally. I think that's a statistic I heard before.
Yeah, yeah.
Mm,
Those that survive, I think it's another
mm,
80%. The 80%,
mm,
the 20%, 80% of the 20% that survive fail in the next
mm,
2 years. The magic number is five. So if you can get
mm,
to 5 years in business, your chances of long term success go up like 80, 90%.
uh,
But those first 5 years are tough, and that's why
yeah.
Launch Ignition is really designed for those that are in those first 5 years.
Okay. So that's incredible. So you're gonna basically diminish that negative number by everything you're doing, everything
Hmm.
your team doing. Yeah. And that's
Indeed.
what we need because like I know ever since COVID been like, a lot of business didn't make it through COVID and then I know a lot of the government regulations kind of changes where it's harder to get certain small business funding and things of that nature. So kind of the scope of like small business has been affected a lot in
Yeah,
the last, several years.
indeed.
Hmm. And so, I know you mentioned like well, I say it another way. Do you feel like it's any risk with the AI tools at all, or misrepresenting of the AI tools? I know you said we talked earlier. You talked about how it's a lot of people in the space. They claim they do this and they claim to do this, but in actuality, they don't really have the knowledge in their minds. More so, that it's also about what they're using on the computer. I guess that's the right way to say it.
Yeah, a lot of people, AI is an amazing tool for those that are extremely talented. It's going to speed you up. It takes your expertise and it amplifies it. But on the converse, there are a lot of people who do not have those skills that are able to fake the funk, as the old people used to say.
Yeah,
They pretend that they're
exactly.
an expert. They can talk the talk, but they can't walk the walk. And AI is allowing them the ability to use the jargon or make it seem as if they know what they're talking about, even though they don't have the expertise or the
Mhm.
infrastructure to back those things up. And that's something that we worry about, and that's something that you're going to see a lot of. Eventually, someone's going to come up with a solution, but right now, you should be leery of people who have not been in an industry that long that are making, extremely bold claims. Again, as they
Mhm.
used to say, um, if it sounds too good to be true, it most likely is.
Yeah. And what's something people can, because most people, when most people are trying to look for somebody in your space, they need something, whether it's a business, they're trying to grow, promote something, wherever it may be. What's something people can look out for to like detect, somebody that's really, skilled like you versus somebody that's, faking a phone?
I mean, just track record.
Mhm.
Can do you have real people? Because they have AI
Mhm.
people.
Yeah,
Are
I've
there
seen
real
them.
people that you can verify and find that vouch for this person, and not just one or two or three, but an
Mhm.
abundance? When you start looking through archives online, do you find them in a variety of places? Um,
Mhm.
or have they won any awards or accolades that
I got you.
validate these things? Tangible things, tangible people that
Mhm.
show you that these people have been around for a while and are reputable, not just,
Mhm.
hey, it sounds great and I love their story and all that kind of stuff.
Yeah.
It's, show me some tangible proof of what you've done in the past, because that is an indicator of future performance.
Yeah. You can't always go off followers either, because I know people can It's a way people can buy followers or make their followers be more quickly.
Yep.
So a way to do that, and you probably want to look back is at the time, time period for us. They go back, it's just 1 year, 2 years, or are they going back like 5, 10 years?
Right.
Yeah. Mhm. That
Yep.
definitely make a big difference. What steps can entrepreneurs take to ensure like the authenticity and credibility in their personal brands and content?
Um, what can they do to increase it?
What can they what steps can they take to ensure that it's authentic and credible, like in their personal brands and content?
Um, I mean, just be honest,
Hmm.
and give people a window into what happens behind the scenes. Everything doesn't need to be curated. Everything doesn't need to be
Hmm.
perfect. Everything doesn't need a filter. Everything doesn't need a script or a template, right? It's okay for you to
Yeah.
just grab the camera and say, "Hey, today isn't the best day," right?
Yeah. Be real. Be a real person. Yeah.
Hey, we had plans to do blah 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 blah, and it rained, and it
Hmm.
just threw a wrench in our whole program.
Yeah.
Uh, just giving people a full story, not just the wins. You take some losses or things don't go your way, or you experience some setbacks. You'll gain more people by being real about the challenges that you're having than you will about your wins and successes.
Hmm. Yeah.
Now,
Because I
you
always
don't need to show everybody your dirty laundry, all of it, right?
yeah,
We don't
yeah,
need all that. But,
yeah,
give them some insight into what you're going through and what the reality of what you're doing is.
yeah. I got you. I guess the more it's I guess it's cool to make stuff look a certain way. Sometimes be professional and but at the same time you want it should be a mixture of like you're a real person that's going through real stuff. You're going to the grocery store, dealing with kids, dealing with family issues and things like that. You kind of want
Indeed.
to show some realness in there, for the be authentic, be your authentic self, as well as professional self. That makes sense though,
Yeah.
because I think a lot of times some people get too caught up in I guess reality TV. You got to be a certain way, you got whatever.
Yeah.
You've achieved, so much in building the business, growing a team, making meaningful impact. Looking ahead, what personal and professional milestones are on the horizon for you?
I mean, I've only got one. That's my 100x impact as far as business. I am committed to helping others. I know that if I help others, then I'll never
Hmm.
have to worry about my own goals, about my own family, my own income. It's
Okay.
a universal principle. You reap what you sow, and I plan to sow a lot of great seeds in other people's lives and businesses. So 100x impact is
Okay.
my mission, my mantra for the next 2 years. Personally, man, I plan to get married, have some kids in the next couple years,
Okay.
continue traveling. I'm an avid
That's
traveler. I've been
yep.
to 28 countries at this point. I have a
Wow.
lifelong goal of stepping foot in every country on the planet before I die.
Wow.
Uh,
That's incredible.
so yeah, I'm gonna keep doing that, man, and just
Yeah.
keep building business, keep dreaming, uh, keep
Hmm.
uh, keep creating.
Okay. Man, that's incredible goals, man. I pray that all that come comes to reality. For you, not for your business, for your personal self. I know
Mhm.
we got to wrap this up, but one thing I like to always ask people, reflect on your journey. What are your most pivotal lessons, decisions you want your younger self to know?
It's gonna be okay. It
Mm-hmm.
doesn't matter how many things are put in your path. You're gonna make it to the mountaintop. Just
Mm-hmm.
always get up, dust yourself off, and put one foot in front of the other.
Okay, I got you. And in this, what are three actionable tips you can give the heightened the sixth sense audience, to heighten their intuition, to align with with their purpose?
Um, turn your passions into profits, right? Find something you're truly passionate about it, and learn and figure out um, how to turn it into profit, how to do something that you really enjoy and you want to contribute to the world, and make it a business. That's one
Okay.
thing. Two is, done is better than perfect, right?
Mhm.
Things don't have to be perfect, but they do need to be out there. You can
Yeah,
always iterate.
exactly.
You can always, put out another episode. You can always put out another version,
Hmm.
but get the thing done and get it out into the market. Um, and last, man, just make sure whatever you do, you're having fun,
Yeah.
right? Life is long and short at the same time. And if you're not enjoying what it is that you do, I mean, it's not the win all to be all. A lot of times it's going to be tough, but
Hmm.
overall, when you get the net of it, you should enjoy what you do, and it should bring you some sense of purpose.
Okay. Man, that's incredible advice, and I really appreciate that. It's been a blessing to be in your presence, to have you on the show, to to learn from you. Um, I'm following you on social media now. I'll be reading your books, and hopefully we can connect. Maybe in the next 3 to 6 months again, and get you back on the podcast. Maybe I'll be
Yeah,
on
man.
your podcast. I don't know if that's in your future
Yeah,
goals, but either way, man, it's been great. It's been a pleasure, and much just peace and blessings to you, and just I hope everything that you envisioning for your company and for your personal self comes to fruition, and at a rapid pace. And I just really just looking for the best for you, man.
I appreciate, man, and likewise. You keep doing this, man. You're gonna touch a lot of people, and you will be blessed in kind.
Mhm.
And yeah, with the book, man, something I'll do for your viewers. I'll give the book away for free. I have a few bonuses that I'll give away. They just need to pay for the shipping wherever they are in the country. They
Yes,
can
sir.
get the book over here, Content Cannon: How to Generate 1 month's worth of content for their business in one day.
All right.
Get that free with a couple other bonuses, and I'll get you the link, and maybe you can put it somewhere for them to see.
Yes, yes, sir. When I post it out, I'll definitely add that. I appreciate that. That's definitely a blessing to my audience, and they're definitely gonna be
Yeah,
very appreciative. And just again, this has been another great episode of Heighten Your Sixth Sense with Shaun Green and our wonderful guest, Mr. Arias Websterberry out of Dallas, Texas. And just thank you again, and we'll see you guys on the next episode.